Third house, or Sahaja Bhava, for Taurus rising, part 1. For Taurus rising, the third house falls in Cancer, ruled by the moon. Taurus is governed by Venus, representing stability, material pleasure, and sensual grounding, while Cancer brings emotional fluctuation, intuitive receptivity, and familial sensitivity into the realm of communication, skills, and siblings. This creates a native whose mental and verbal expression is rooted in feeling rather than logic, in memory rather than analysis. Speech is shaped by sentiment, rhythm, and a subconscious emotional pull. This gives a soft, nurturing, sometimes moody tone to the way they express ideas or handle short-term experiences. The moon's rulership of the third house for Taurus rising emphasizes communication that is cyclical, changing, and responsive. These natives often speak based on their emotional state, with tone and cadence shifting from day to day. There is a natural poetic or storytelling quality to their speech, and they may recall events with vivid emotional detail. Their writing or speaking style can captivate through emotional authenticity. When emotionally balanced, their communication fosters comfort and connection. When imbalanced, it becomes reactive, avoidant, or overly sentimental. Early schooling or sibling relationships are deeply formative and carry emotional weight. The native may have had a close, possibly codependent bond with siblings or an emotionally intense school environment. They learn best through emotional connection or sensory engagement, visual storytelling, music, food, or embodied practice. Courage is not expressed through bold confrontation, but rather through emotional vulnerability, caretaking, and standing up for loved ones. They are more likely to defend someone else than themselves. The moon in this position gives instinctive intelligence and strong auditory memory. These natives often have beautiful, emotionally modulated voices and are skilled at conveying tone and mood. However, their speech may become indirect or evasive when under pressure. They communicate with emotional cues, facial expressions, and nurturing metaphors rather than blunt facts. At times, this can make their communication seem unclear to more analytical types, but it resonates deeply with those attuned to nuance and feeling. Family conditioning for Taurus rising with Cancer in the third house often involves themes of emotional containment, safety through silence, or caregiving roles within the sibling group. The native may have learned early that speaking from the heart is both powerful and dangerous, shaping a style of cautious or emotionally adaptive communication. Emotional intelligence is high, but there may be a tendency to retreat from conflict, especially in conversations. Over time, they learn to set boundaries while still honoring their emotional instincts. Financially, the third house governs skills that become income sources. With Cancer here, the native often monetizes caregiving, emotional labor, food, home-based services, or therapeutic roles. Writing, singing, counseling, and intuitive arts are favored fields. Because of the moon's fluctuating nature, consistency in output may be a challenge, but their work gains traction when it's emotionally honest and personally meaningful. They are not traders of logic, but nurturers of emotional resonance and community connection. The third house is activated at ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. These years bring crucial developments in courage, self-expression, and learning. At 15, the native may have an emotionally defining moment in school or sibling life. At 27, they begin to find their voice, often through an emotional, creative, or familial catalyst. At 39, they restructure how they speak, teach, and lead emotionally. These cycles reflect the moon's rhythm, pulling them inward before releasing outward expression in tidal waves of insight. Psychologically, the Sahaja Bhava for Taurus rising reveals the deep interplay between emotional safety and expressive courage. Venus seeks peace and beauty. The moon seeks security and attachment. These natives learn to balance self-protection with self-expression. They must overcome the tendency to retreat into silence or nostalgia and instead cultivate the courage to share feelings honestly. Over time, they evolve into communicators who lead not through persuasion, but through emotional clarity, intuitive care, and the deep human resonance of feeling heard and seen. Conjunctions in third house or Sahaja Bhava for Taurus rising, part 2. All conjunctions except with moon. Sun, 4th lord, with Venus, 1st and 6th lord. This is a union of warmth and beauty in the emotional sign of Cancer. The sun brings confidence and pride from one's emotional roots, while Venus adds grace, charm, and self-awareness. The native speaks with a glowing, affectionate tone, often persuasive, caring, and aesthetically refined. There may be a strong attachment to family or cultural pride expressed through writing, teaching, or storytelling. Sibling bonds may have been influential in shaping their identity and sense of loyalty. Financially, this benefits creative or caregiving professions, especially those involving voice, fashion, or beauty. The personality is graceful, nurturing, and proud, protective of both voice and kin. Sun, 4th Lord, with Mercury, 2nd and 5th Lord. This pairing enhances intellectual confidence and memory-based communication. The Sun lends authority and Mercury brings analytical dexterity, making the native an emotionally engaging yet sharp speaker. In Cancer, thoughts are filtered through emotional memory and family narrative. The speech style may resemble storytelling, teaching, or philosophical reflection. Siblings or cousins may have played a teaching role or mirrored the native's mental development. Financially, this favors advisory, educational, or publishing careers. The personality is articulate, emotionally intelligent, and capable of inspiring through facts woven with feeling. Sun, 4th Lord with Ketu. Here, the authoritative Sun confronts Ketu's detachment and spiritual undertones. The result is a speaker who feels inwardly noble but struggles to be seen or validated through communication. Speech may be cryptic, philosophical, or laced with a subtle resignation. Family and early learning environments might carry themes of alienation, karmic duty, or a deep sense of separation from peers. The native may communicate with depth, but not frequency, offering insight only when it feels meaningful. Financially, this can yield results in spiritual, educational, or solitary professions. The personality is intense, inward-looking, and guided more by inner clarity than outer recognition. Sun, 4th Lord, with Saturn, 9th and 10th Lord. Sun, this conjunction blends emotional authority with disciplined communication. The voice is serious, slow, and deliberate, projecting depth and responsibility. The native may carry a heavy sense of duty in speech, sometimes too burdened to share freely. Early schooling may have involved traditional structures or high expectations. Speech is measured and thoughtful, but prone to rigidity. Financially, this favors structured environments like teaching, law, or public policy. The personality is mature, dutiful, and emotionally reserved, struggling between self-expression and a need to remain composed and responsible. Mercury, 2nd and 5th Lord, with Venus, 1st and 6th Lord. This elegant pairing combines intellect with charm. The native communicates with grace, balance, and subtle wit. In Cancer, this gives emotional literacy, a natural counselor, writer, or designer of emotionally resonant content. There may be a strong emotional attachment to one's ideas or self-worth, tied to intellectual appreciation. Sibling bonds may involve shared hobbies, artistic collaboration, or aesthetic sensibilities. Financially, this is ideal for publishing, media, design, or client-based work. The personality is diplomatic, clever, and emotionally intelligent, valuing words that both soothe and uplift. Mercury, 2nd and 5th Lord, with Ketu. This pairing produces a unique mental and verbal detachment. The native may be intelligent, observant, and articulate, but choose silence or eccentric modes of expression. In Cancer, Mercury's analytical faculty becomes diffused by Ketu's intuitive withdrawal. Communication may be internally rich but externally minimal. Siblings may be distant, spiritual, or karmic triggers for inner detachment. The native may excel in behind-the-scenes work like editing, research, or occult studies. Financially, this supports spiritual or solitary crafts. The personality is introspective, private, and content to communicate only when there is deeper meaning to convey. Mercury, 2nd and 5th Lord, with Saturn, 9th and 10th Lord. This conjunction lends structure and realism to the intellect. Speech is factual, restrained, and practical. The native learns early to speak with caution and responsibility, possibly due to rigid schooling or emotionally repressed environments. In Cancer, this creates a blend of emotional restraint and mental seriousness, making the native wise beyond their years. Sibling relationships may involve authority figures or mentoring dynamics. Financially, this is excellent for law, finance research, or administration. The personality is grounded, serious-minded, and slow to open up, preferring long-form thought over small talk. Venus, 1st and 6th Lord, with Ketu. This pairing creates emotional detachment in personal style and communication. The native may be aesthetically gifted but indifferent to social validation. Speech is gentle but withdrawn. Often nonverbal cues or symbolic modes of expression prevail. Relationships with siblings or neighbors may be distant or marked by quiet service. In Cancer, Venus with Ketu can express beauty through solitude, art that heals, words that emerge from inner silence. Financially, this may lead to periods of withdrawal or losses unless channeled into spiritual or alternative professions. The personality is refined, solitary, and quietly magnetic, presenting a soft exterior with deep karmic detachment. Venus, 1st and 6th Lord, with Saturn, 9th and 10th Lord. A sober blend of elegance and responsibility, this conjunction favors refinement with restraint. Speech is graceful but minimal. The native may be soft-spoken, diplomatic, and formal in tone. In Cancer, it gives emotional responsibility in communication, choosing words with care and weight. The sibling dynamic may include duty, distance, or an elder sibling archetype. Financially, this favors structured aesthetic roles, design, architecture, law, or heritage arts. The personality is composed, enduring, and refined, often admired for their poise under pressure, but may struggle to express vulnerability openly. Saturn, 9th and 10th Lord, with Ketu. This austere conjunction produces depth, silence, and karmic isolation in communication. The native may speak rarely, but with weight and insight. In Cancer, there is emotional control, perhaps even suppression, and speech becomes ritualistic or reserved. The early life may have involved communication gaps, absence of siblings, or speech challenges. The native develops a stoic, enduring mindset, often preferring solitude or study over socializing. Financial gains may come slowly and through spiritual or traditional channels. The personality is serious, philosophical, and inward, focused on meaning, endurance, and ancestral memory more than verbal exchange. Third house, or Sahaja Bhava for Virgo rising, part 1. For Virgo rising, the third house falls in Scorpio, ruled by Mars. Virgo, ruled by Mercury, thrives on analysis, detail, and careful expression, while Scorpio introduces depth, secrecy, intensity, and emotional complexity to the realm of communication and skill building. This combination creates a native who is highly observant, instinctively strategic, and cautious with words. They speak less often, but with piercing insight. Their verbal style is calculated and layered, often revealing only what is necessary while concealing emotional subtext beneath precise articulation. Mars ruling the third house brings boldness and drive into their communication, but in Scorpio, that assertiveness turns inward, becoming mental penetration rather than loud proclamation. The native expresses with intensity, but prefers depth to volume. They may speak quietly, even calmly, but their words carry weight, often provoking deep reflection in others. This is someone who can hold silence like a weapon and speak like a scalpel. Communication is used for purpose, investigation, persuasion, or exposure, not idle conversation. Sibling dynamics are often complex, possibly defined by psychological intensity, rivalry, or shared secrets. The native may have experienced emotional power struggles or protective bonds with siblings that felt karmic or fated. Their early learning environment may have involved controlling teachers, strict expectations, or intense curiosity, fostering a mindset of caution and self-protection. They learn best through probing, dissecting, and emotional investment, preferring full immersion in a subject before mastering it. With Scorpio in the third house, courage is not about flamboyant risk, but about calculated action. These natives do not rush into anything. They act only after sensing undercurrents and preparing for impact. Their hands and minds are gifted for fields requiring precision under pressure: surgery, research, intelligence analysis, or financial strategy. The combination of Virgo's systemization and Scorpio's instinct makes them excellent at pattern detection, problem solving, and uncovering what others miss. Physically, Scorpio's influence sharpens reflexes and lends stamina to repetitive tasks. The native may have a firm grip, intense eyes, and a quiet, fixed posture when engaged in thought. Their voice may be low-toned, hushed, or intense, always controlled, never careless. When provoked, their speech can become cutting, even ruthless. In high-stress situations, they are more likely to withdraw and recalibrate than explode, preferring to plan their response rather than react impulsively. Family conditioning often teaches them to guard their thoughts and emotions. They may have grown up in environments where knowledge was power, privacy was essential, or expression carried consequences. As a result, they tend to test others before opening up, valuing loyalty and emotional depth in communication over ease or familiarity. They may also develop a tendency to internalize conflict, preferring silent resistance over open argument. Financially, Scorpio in the third house allows for income via technical skills, research, intelligence work, or high-pressure environments. Their strength lies in focus and endurance. They are not multitaskers, but deep divers. Freelance, consulting, investigative journalism, therapy, or anything involving secrecy and control appeal to this placement. Their courage in communication comes from mastering silence, not performance. The third house activates at ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. At 15, they may experience a psychological shift around power, control, or trust, often linked to schooling or peer interactions. At 27, they become increasingly deliberate with their voice and talents, possibly withdrawing from superficial networks. By 39, their skill and communication begin to carry greater influence, often through roles involving confidentiality, authority, or strategy. Their evolution lies in learning to balance insight with openness, to speak not only to expose, but to empower. Conjunctions in third house or Sahaja Bhava for Virgo rising part 2. Mars, 3rd and 8th Lord, Venus, 2nd and 9th Lord. Mars gives verbal intensity, strategic instinct, and a direct style. Venus adds refinement, diplomacy, and aesthetic intelligence. In Scorpio, their fusion creates a voice that is seductive, sharp, and emotionally layered. The native speaks with controlled magnetism, capable of disarming or disempowering through tone alone. Communication becomes a tool for influence and subtle power play. Sibling relationships may be deeply entangled, passionate, or filled with unspoken rivalry and loyalty. The personality is intense, charming, and quietly provocative, able to navigate both confrontation and allure within a single sentence. Mars, 3rd and 8th Lord, Saturn, 5th and 6th Lord. Mars propels courage and precision. Saturn disciplines, restricts, and refines expression. Together in Scorpio, they generate a communicator who is silent, formidable, and deeply calculated. The native rarely speaks in haste. Every word is filtered through inner strategy and often carries emotional control or tactical weight. Their voice commands seriousness, especially in investigative or conflict resolution settings. Sibling bonds may carry unresolved tension, protective distance, or karmic burdens. The personality is intense, private, and highly focused, suited for environments that demand loyalty, secrecy, and mental endurance. Mars, 3rd and 8th Lord, Ketu. Here, martial will merges with spiritual detachment. In Scorpio, this gives a communicator who speaks with piercing clarity, but only when necessary. The native tends to be silent by default, but their words when spoken are laced with psychic sharpness. They avoid small talk and communicate through action, energy, or sudden interruption. Relationships with siblings may be marked by separation, karma, or secrecy. This combination suits occult research, crisis negotiation, or intense solitary work. The personality is fiercely independent, inwardly restless, and uninterested in praise, moving like a shadow through competitive environments. Venus, 2nd and 9th Lord, Saturn, 5th and 6th Lord. Venus brings tone, sweetness, and persuasion. Saturn adds patience, responsibility, and restraint. In Scorpio, this pairing produces a communicator who is understated but emotionally persuasive. The native speaks with a soft intensity, layered with experience and emotional realism. They are not overly expressive, but their words leave lasting impressions. Early sibling life may involve age gaps, long silences, or formal relational dynamics. Careers in counseling, education, or therapeutic arts benefit from this blend. The personality is emotionally mature, elegant, and stoic, more persuasive through presence and tone than volume. Venus, 2nd and 9th Lord, Ketu. This is a combination of poetic refinement and inner withdrawal. Venus seeks connection, Ketu dissolves it. In Scorpio, this results in a voice that's enchanting but elusive, often expressing through symbolic language, ritual, or emotional undertones. The native may attract others with their communication, yet feel emotionally removed from social bonds. Siblings may appear distant, karmically linked, or unreachable on a deeper level. They prefer quiet forms of beauty, mystic poetry, sacred art, or emotionally rich silence. The personality is mystical, graceful, and subtly detached, communicating meaning without emotional exposure. Saturn, 5th and 6th Lord, plus Ketu. Saturn defines and restrains. Ketu withdraws and spiritualizes. In Scorpio, their meeting creates a communicator of few but heavy words. Speech becomes a tool of karmic refinement, often delayed, internalized, or shaped by responsibility. The native may have struggled to speak freely in early life, preferring observation over participation. Sibling relationships may be shaped by karma, duty, or emotional distance. They are suited to sacred systems, ancient languages, or hidden knowledge. The personality is severe, contemplative, and quietly transformative, more interested in eternal truths than momentary debates. Venus, 2nd and 9th Lord, plus Jupiter, 4th and 7th Lord. Venus charms and expresses, Jupiter teaches and expands. In Scorpio, this pairing grants a deep, wise, and emotionally compelling voice. The native may blend ethics with beauty in their speech, capable of both storytelling and moral clarity. Sibling bonds may be emotionally supportive or spiritually significant. Communication becomes a tool for healing, sharing, or elevating. This placement supports roles in counseling, higher education, spiritual writing, or mentorship. The personality is nurturing, expressive, and intuitive, able to move between deep feeling and structured wisdom with ease. Jupiter, 4th and 7th Lord, plus Saturn, 5th and 6th Lord. Jupiter expands and guides. Saturn stabilizes and restricts. Their combination in Scorpio brings a voice of measured wisdom and emotional depth. The native speaks with authority grounded in life experience, balanced between idealism and realism. They are natural system builders, policy shapers, or philosophical organizers. Early sibling dynamics may involve structure, mentorship, or protective boundaries. Their thinking often fuses emotional intelligence with ethical commitment. The personality is steady, thoughtful, and deeply reflective, best suited for guiding others through complexity with calm and discernment. Third house, or Sahaja Bhava, for Capricorn rising, part 1. For Capricorn rising, the third house falls in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, is grounded, pragmatic, and structured, while Pisces introduces imagination, emotion, intuition, and fluidity into the sphere of communication, courage, and skill. This creates a native whose words are thoughtful yet emotionally saturated, whose ideas are practical in method but visionary in scope. They tend to speak in symbols, stories, or metaphors, expressing more than just facts. Their communication style is shaped by inner tides, often poetic, subtle, or even nonlinear. Jupiter, as the lord of the third house, gives a mind that seeks meaning in everyday interaction. The native may express themselves through storytelling, philosophy, or spiritual concepts, often softening Saturn's stoicism with a touch of idealism. Unlike the rigid clarity Capricorn may exude in their identity, their speech carries more emotion and openness. They often communicate in a gentle tone, favoring intuition over confrontation. When undeveloped, this can make them vague or evasive. When evolved, they express with wisdom, compassion, and a sense of deeper emotional resonance. Sibling relationships for Capricorn rising tend to be emotionally rich, spiritually infused, or karmically charged. There may be a blurred line between rivalry and compassion, or a sense of psychic attunement with siblings. Schooling experiences may be dreamy, scattered, or imaginative, perhaps enriched by art, music, or spiritual learning, but lacking strict structure. These natives absorb knowledge best through immersion and emotional connection, rather than rigid instruction. Their courage grows not through direct action, but through faith, surrender, and inner conviction. Pisces in the third house produces a communication style that is impressionistic rather than declarative. These natives may be drawn to film, poetry, mysticism, or counseling, fields that rely on emotional intelligence and subtle communication. They're sensitive to tone, context, and undercurrents in dialogue. Their words carry softness but often veil strong inner depth. They may prefer indirect communication or rely on mood and atmosphere to convey their message. Verbal conflict is generally avoided unless a deep moral or emotional line is crossed. Physically, Pisces' influence gives fluidity to the hands and voice. Speech may be musical, dreamlike, or hypnotic in rhythm. Their gestures tend to be loose or flowing, and they may doodle, write, or craft intuitively. When stressed, they can become scattered or unclear in speech, shifting from focus to fantasy. There's also a tendency to absorb others' emotional energy through conversation, requiring them to develop boundaries in their verbal and relational interactions. Family conditioning for Capricorn rising with Pisces in the third house often emphasizes compassion, silence, or moral storytelling over blunt instruction. These natives may grow up feeling that emotional expression is best channeled through artistic or philosophical means. As they mature, they learn to integrate Saturn's need for structure with Pisces, pull toward surrender, creating a voice that is both stable and soulful. They evolve from hesitant dreamers into compassionate advisors or inspired educators. Financially, Pisces in the third supports income through creative, spiritual, or healing communication. Writing, music, therapy, or spiritual guidance can all serve as channels for their talents. Their voice, if disciplined, becomes a tool for soothing, inspiring, and guiding others. They may also do well in charitable or behind-the-scenes roles that allow their imagination to work through meaningful service. The third house activates at ages 3, 15, 27, 39, 51, 63, and 75. At 15, they may undergo an emotional or artistic awakening, perhaps falling in love with an art form or spiritual path. At 27, their communication style may become more public or refined, often finding voice through teaching or creative work. At 39, they may step into a more active role as a communicator, healer, or guide. Their journey lies in balancing the Saturnian realism of their identity with Piscean emotional fluidity, learning that structure does not diminish compassion, but can carry it farther. Conjunctions in third house or Sahaja Bhava for Capricorn rising, part 2. Jupiter, 3rd and 12th Lord, plus Venus, 5th and 10th Lord. Jupiter brings faith, inner vision, and philosophical rhythm. Venus offers charm, intelligence, and aesthetic refinement. In Pisces, their union gives a communicator who is warm, poetic, and quietly commanding. The native speech blends intuition and artistry, ideal for counseling, music, or spiritual education. With houses related to expression, dharma, and career linked, the voice becomes a professional tool, used to inspire, teach, or lead with beauty and compassion. Sibling bonds are nurturing, emotionally influential, or built through shared ideals. The personality is graceful, wise, and creative, someone who transmits emotional healing through words. Jupiter, 3rd and 12th Lord, Mars, 4th and 11th Lord. Mars acts with drive and urgency. Jupiter guides with belief and moral compass. Their conjunction in Pisces produces a speaker whose words carry fire, wrapped in intuition. Speech is charged with conviction but softened by compassion, ideal for leadership in spiritual activism or inspirational work. Sibling dynamics may involve deep loyalty, protective instincts, or mission-driven bonding. With houses of emotional foundation, higher networks, and inner expansion connected, the native is drawn to empowering causes. The personality is determined, hopeful, and inwardly propelled, using communication to direct collective energy toward visionary ends. Jupiter, 3rd and 12th Lord, plus Saturn, 1st and 2nd Lord. Saturn roots, Jupiter uplifts. Together in Pisces, they create a communicator who is slow to speak, but profoundly resonant when they do. Their speech blends inner maturity with spiritual intelligence, often reserved for teaching, guidance, or contemplative leadership. Sibling relationships may be distant, dutiful, or bonded through silence and shared understanding. With the self, voice, and deeper mind all involved, they may become quiet thinkers who build structures of wisdom through writing or ritual. The personality is serious, measured, and spiritually attuned, one who believes in words that endure. Jupiter, 3rd and 12th Lord. Jupiter holds expansive wisdom. Ketu seeks silence and transcendence. In Pisces, their combination creates a communicator who is mystical, symbolically rich, and often guided by nonverbal insight. Their speech may take the form of sacred poetry, meditative rhythm, or indirect truth-telling. They tend to withdraw from noisy communication, preferring intuitive sharing or contemplative teaching. Sibling bonds may be ethereal or karmically unresolved. The personality is otherworldly, wise, and inwardly devoted, more tuned to cosmic rhythm than worldly chatter. Venus, 5th and 10th Lord, plus Mars, 4th and 11th Lord. Mars commands, Venus charms. In Pisces, their pairing yields a communicator who is both passionate and empathetic, using assertiveness to protect and inspire. Their speech is emotionally rich, compelling, and magnetic, especially in artistic or social domains. Sibling relationships may be intense, creatively bonded, or subtly competitive. With the heart, home, career, and social groups tied into this blend, they often act as connectors, artists, or advocates. The personality is expressive, socially agile, and purpose-driven, speaking with emotion that moves others to act. Venus, 10th Lord plus Saturn, 1st and 2nd Lord. Saturn gives form and restraint. Venus lends grace and magnetism. In Pisces, their union produces a communicator who is gentle, composed, and stylistically mature. The voice may carry melancholy or soulful gravity, ideal for mentorship, classical arts, or devotional service. Sibling ties may revolve around duty, emotional care, or karmic contracts of support. With the self, speech, creativity, and career involved, the native may develop a quiet public persona rooted in depth and sincerity. The personality is reserved, elegant, and heartfelt, able to balance beauty and boundaries in every sentence. Mars, 4th and 11th Lord, plus Ketu. Mars drives expression. Ketu removes egoic attachment. Together in Pisces, they form a communicator who acts instinctively but speaks sparingly. Their courage is nonverbal, demonstrated through acts of service, sacrifice, or subtle rebellion. Speech may be blunt, emotionally charged, or absent altogether, replaced by symbolic gesture or private conviction. Sibling connections may be marked by separation, emotional tension, or karmic friction. The personality is private, intense, and forcefully subtle, choosing inner power over outer noise. Venus, 5th and 10th Lord, Ketu. Venus refines, Ketu detaches. In Pisces, their combination creates a communicator who embodies beauty without attachment. Their words are delicate, dreamlike, and infused with intuitive insight. They may speak in metaphors, music, or emotional symbols more than direct statements. Sibling ties may be spiritual, artistic, or lost in karmic fog. With career and creative self-expression linked here, the native may thrive in devotional arts, sacred performance, or healing aesthetics. The personality is sensitive, withdrawn, and gently impactful, whispering truths that linger long after they're spoken.